And we're off. Okay, we're going to have the first, like an introductory video on our dirty kitchen. Now, our dirty kitchen is a box, a rectangular box. It's not just a one side leaned against the house, or a shed roof with a three-sided wall would be like maybe something like this with other form in there. And you could put a kitchen in that and have a roof. But we're going to do what looks like a garage, I guess. It's like 12 feet by 18, maybe. No, it's more than that. It's about 20 feet long, about 12 by 20. Because it uses the same counter forms as we use in the kitchen in the house. It says making forms. The side over here, each side, gets 3 windows. We call these things bucks. I use the same term as Texas Filipino, and I've heard them called other things, but I've heard them called bucks. So he's introduced everybody to the name. We're going to use it. Now, you see at the end over here, there's a blue bar. That's a short bar. And a red bar. And they're not tied into these. That's because the bars for the short end walls will have 90-degree bends on them, and they'll come down here about 2 feet and lap these green bars. And then these will be tied to that, but there's nothing to tie them to here. It just shows you this is where the end of the building is. This window height is 36 inches off the floor. We're thinking that a 32-inch counter height is too tall for, most everybody that's going to use this kitchen is shorter. The bouquet, they're a little taller. They might be 5'2" or 5'3". That's Rose, and Rose. The mother is Rose Lynn, and then we have Rose Wendlin and Rose Emmeline. We call them the bouquet. They're all roses. This is also 3 lifts. It's very similar to the fish tank in size, and height is the same, because we're going to put a loft on top of this, like a bedroom or something, in case we got somebody that's working here making soup and they want to live in the thing. Wouldn't be my first choice, but if they do, they do. Window buck. Let's aim the camera rather than the computer. Okay, the purple thing is a piece of plywood. It's a 4x8 sheet, cut 32, 32, and 32, and then it's 48 the width of the sheet. It has got a piece of 2x2. Can be 2x2 or 2x3. Don't make any difference. This is our 2x2s. They don't go clear to the bottom. Just this face of it, you line up the outside of the buck to it. And this 2x2 is screwed not to the other 2x2s or anything, only to the 3/4 inch plywood. Same thing with this one. It's screwed only to the plywood. And that lets it be removable by unscrewing the plywood. Then you have four loose sides that pretty much fall out. In the middle here, these sides go right down to that 3/4 plywood. The location of the 3/4 plywood depends on the whether it's 2x2s or 2x3s. This is drawn as a 2x3. If it's 2x2, the plywood would just be up an inch, because we're still going to screw this to the plywood. And then the outer band is the outside of the buck of the window. That way, when you put a window in there, water doesn't run under the bottom of the window and into the building. It's got to be 1.5 inches deep before it gets up to where it can run in. And then you have to have a ledge, a stop, to push your window up against when you install it. and something to anchor your screen to. So we're just using that 1.5 inches. It still leaves a 29 by 45. Oh, no bigger than that, because you got this. You got an inch and a quarter. Anyway, the 32 by 48 plus or minus these strips, and that's the size of the window. And this gets put together with Torx head screws. I don't know if they. It's a simple little thing. This is about a 1/2 inch space here, but with the 1.5 inch things, it would be a 2 inch space. That this plywood would be more up into the center of the concrete, which is what we really try to do, and less trying to bend it over and knock it down. Okay. This is an end wall with a door form as showed in the last video. It's the same door we used in the house. We got like 28 doors in the house, maybe more. Yeah, a few more. In any event, same form we used in the house. We can use some of the doors that we made doors for every hole. Well, Benji Boy was welding grills. We have steel doors everywhere, and we can take some of them and interchange out here if we want to change in view. You have doors in your house that normally are never closed. They ought to be archways, but they're doors, and there's a door hung in them. So we have plenty of extra doors, you know, that aren't in bedrooms or something. These bars here, they look like the end right there, but they don't. They got a 90-degree bend in them. You lay these width of the building. Here's one of the width of the building rebar, center of the walls, because your rebar is going to be in the center of the wall in the Philippines. We lay those two down, lay our door buck where we want it, and there's dimensions. Where's the guys down here? Shows you where to put it, and the dimensions are the same because everything is symmetrical on this building. No reason not to be. And we have the heights of over here is the height of the bottom of the buck, and these things here will come out to the right length because we used them before we know what they are. Oh, what was I getting at? These green bars here, you butt them up against the thing they're going to, and we have notch boards for this spaces these, so we know exactly where they're going to be. The notch boards are 4 foot. The first one covers up to 1 bar past the meeting point, and the other one takes up half a bar before it and goes again. I don't know, there's 4 to 6 of those things. So you can step your way right up it and get all these bars right on the money with no effort. It's really easy. But anyway, you butt it against this. Wherever they are, they butt against it. Down here, those would butt against it. And then you bend them up 90 degrees. If you got way too much extra, more than 2 feet overlap, you cut some off, because you can always use that for the corners, like when you have a square corner here. If you put a bar here that's on that size window, probably 2 feet. And a 1/2 inch clear of on the concrete, it runs 45 degree. And then you put one that's about 6 inches shorter on each end, and that keeps the crack from running from here right out across the wall. We didn't have to do that on the house. We had a place we should have, but we didn't. We should have done it on the bottom of the windows, the big round windows, because most of them have a hairline crack from the center of the window right down to the floor. The top didn't do it because the beam above it and the wall and the openings are all cast in one cast. It's a monolithic pour. The top beam has got the same rebar schedule as if it was a freestanding beam. If someday somebody wanted to come in here with a diamond saw and chop a big hole out of this wall, it'd stay right there because you've got the beam that you would need to do it with. What are we looking at there? Oh. The round thing is just showing them about where we want to put our ventilation fan. Because this kitchen is going to have a counter on both of the long sides and sinks. And one side gets gas burners like a grill to put woks on and pots and things. The other side got the thing for pots. And that's got a big open hole for a cauldron to make soup. And the fire for the soup can either be gas or it can be a wood fire. Because the whole counter, everything in this thing is concrete. We can put some either ceramic tile or bricks on the inside of it and actually burn wood for heat for the stuff in the kitchen. This was an earlier iteration, only valid to yesterday. We're getting serious about building it, so I had to change it now. But these windows are higher, and I got worried they couldn't see over them, so I changed them. It was easier to redraw it because I'd made some concession doing that. I didn't like that either. Okay, the different colors are different number forms. We have an 83 and a quarter inch long and a 96 inch long. But both sides are symmetrical. Actually, you could turn this around and it would be green and red. It wouldn't make any difference. The two make a corner form up here. They are not the same. So it's 131.6 centimeters. And the other is 135. So there's a slight difference in the forms. They're made so that that long and this short and this long and this short add up to 8 feet. And that way you have one cut across the plywood and use 100% of the plywood. And so if you were running short on this wall, you could put both ends of the long side here and pick up that little extra length. And I'm not real happy with using metrics. I didn't grow up with it. But it's, I guarantee you, 243.8395. That's 96 inches. And this is 83 and a fraction. About 83 and 5/8, I think, maybe, something like that. And this is the length of the dirty kitchen. Center to center on the walls. So you'd lose 3.5 inches off each end. Lose 7 inches off of, this is centimeters. 6.8 meters. It's 6 3s are 18, 8 40 32, 20 in inches. Close enough for me. If they get the concrete in the building in the right place. And this is the cross dimension across the narrow end, 4.4 meters. So 4 3s is 12 and 4, 16, 13 feet 4. But I don't want to confuse the construction team or my foreman. So what we do is we draw it in inches. And then we up there at the top of the screen, it's you hit transform. Start over. Go up here to the top title bar, which is out of the screen. Transform is the thing you hit. And then scale 3D. And you come down here any place. And when you click the screen, it's going to say what to scale it by. And if it was drawn in inches and you wanted it to be metric dimensions and metric size, it'll make the whole blasted thing just jumps out to the metric numbers. It's 2.54 times the inch drawing. If you go on the other way, it's 0.3937 from centimeters back to inch. And you can make a whole second drawing just by doing file copy. And when you open it up, you scale it to the other one. And you name 1 inches and 1 centimeters. But we generally, once we get it thought out where we want it, then we'll make it into centimeters for the crew. Over here we have the various sizes of forms we have to work with. These are probably corner forms, these 4 here. This will be our 83. This is a 96. These are our 48. Let's put that over where you can see that. I could tell you what it adds up to. It's 7 feet 6 from here to there. But this is the dimensions. You take these sheets and the slip forms. The whole trick to it is you slip them. This black form was down against the ground, and this was against the ground, and this was a 2x2 or 2x3 brace. And when you slip it up, the one that was next to the ground comes up, and it goes into the one that's closest to the top. In the septic tank, it went to one down. That's this. Well, I rolled it the wrong way. In the septic tank, this black form hole would have gone into this one, and they're in columns, so you can put it at any of 4 different heights. But the reason that this is down in the wall is because you're going to have green concrete, and you're going to bolt this row of forms right around the top. You just whatever you had on the bottom, you just pick them straight up and put the bolts back in the holes, and forms are done. An hour and a half, and you're ready for another lift. It takes longer to tie the horizontal rebars than it does to set the forms. It takes a lot longer to bag the rock and the sand than it does to set the forms. But this is down because you're going to have some leverage on this when you're pouring the concrete. And if this is green, you don't want to break off the top of the concrete. And if your holes was close to the top of the concrete, then you're probably going to snap off a little chunk of concrete in your spacer pipe and all of that. And that would be not good. I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about this. Oh, wait a minute. Let me close that. Be dragging this. It's thinking about it. This is drawn in a really fine mesh, thousandths of an inch apart, not inches apart. So I don't know, there's 296 megabits of information on this drawing. Which means it's all in 3D. Okay, this is showing the 4-foot red lift, or purple 3.5-foot lift, and a blue 3.5-foot lift and the when originally, until 2 days ago, we were going to pour these 2 half sections and then connect them at the top with the top of a door jamb. That would only require 1 sheet of plywood for the bucks. But then I got to thinking, I really do want to connect this top ring for earthquake protection. So we decided we just bite the bullet and buy a little more plywood, buy another sheet. And so we did. May even be delivered, I don't know. Okay, this is our bent up rebars, which comes across the end and then bends up to go down the side. And these are left long so we could bend them up or down to the width of the door jamb. The ones on the side are straight. The end ones have this bend in them. And we're gonna leave 2 feet of overlap and then cut off the rest. There's no use just putting it. We may actually leave it on these upper ones up here. We may leave all of it on the top and the bottom 3 or 4. Just for, like, again, it's like tearing paper with earthquakes. We have a lot of earthquakes in the Philippines. Hundreds a day. But people say, oh, that's a lot of earthquakes. If we only had 2 major fault lines like California, it could be 180, 100 years before it slipped. And then you have a massive amount of damage. When you have 30 or 40 and as many as 150 a day, these minor quakes, it never builds that kind of pressure. Oh, okay, what we were looking at here was when we do the drawing, we just lay the forms down around the outside of it, and they know which, like this is the 83, this is a 96, these are corner forms, and then a black one would be a 4-foot form, half sheet plywood. And we end up with little places. As one place it was 18 inches. That's almost a half a meter. And so we had to make a patch piece that was just a strip off the end of a 4-foot plywood with 2 of these 2x3s on it. Yeah. And it would bolt in just like it was a full-size form. And the piece you were patching in, of course, it would be a seam right here, of course, because this is where it would have, well, you'd have a seam right here. And then you'd have another 2x3 and however long this piece had to be. And we try to confine it to being 1 3/4 inches in English, so we can just chuck another one of these pieces in of the form we make it out of, the 2x3, which is and there's dimensions that you can't quite read here to tell them what form they're looking for out of the pile. The forms are all painted the same color. They're black phenolic with blue surrounding everything. Oh, why did we come to this picture? Now we're back to it. Well, came to this picture to look at this shape here. So we have a big cooking area, a couple small burners, 3 sinks. You get 3 sinks here, 1, 2, 3. And then on this end, it's either on this side it's the dishwasher, and on the other corner over here, when you flip this kitchen form around, refrigerator. Sinks. I went to Wilcon and priced Frankel sinks. They started at 23,000 pesos, and remember 500 5,000 pesos is $100. So that's $460 for a single sink, 8 inches deep and about 18 inches square, no faucet, no drain, and top mount. If it's under mount, it costs more. And they go right up to a two bowl sink, 9 inches deep, like 18 by 40, and that's 37,000 pesos. So you divide 500 into 37, and that's a $600 sink just for the stamping. The gauge of the metal was not impressive, but compared to the Crown brand, it was also a store brand. It was twice as thick. Well, 1.7 something times as thick. But when you're talking 0.7 of a millimeter, that's not very thick. I could put a pan in there too heavy and put a dent in it. So we needed, we're having 27 water fixtures of assorted kinds, like faucets. And like the toilets, the same thing. They wanted as much as 56,000 pesos for a one-piece toilet. We haven't got the 80 pound per square inch of pressure to air flush it. And the plumbing stuff they sell here isn't really rated for 80 psi. And you have to have a pump and a storage bladder to boost the pressure. So you can buy it, but you just can't use it. And if you have one that's a regular dump flush valve, you can get the same button in the middle of the lid. But they're still wanting, 20-some thousand pesos for a toilet, one-piece toilet. So we were riding around one day and decided we weren't going to buy 9 toilets at that price, and or commodes, whatever you want to call them, things for your comfort room. And we saw this place, City Light. We buy rebar and cement there. We try to buy in our local town from Patlin's, but if we have to buy something he hasn't got, we have to pay a trucking fee from City Light, and we can we can get a little discount, like 5% from either one of them. But if they have to make a trip clear out there, my wife says, well, the Patlin might be free shipping, but if I'm going to pay 1,200 pesos to get this little thing delivered, let's get some stuff. And she'll buy some cement from them, or Sahara, or some little thing. Anyway, we're sitting there, and I was looking at this one-piece toilet. I says, one-piece toilet. I told the guy, I said, it's kind of dirty, isn't it, sitting out here next to the street, filthy. He says, yeah, that's a sample. If they come in a box, they're clean, huh? You'd laugh, So I said, how much is that? And he told me it was like equivalent of $60. I said, really? I said, what's wrong with it? He said, no, that's the price of it. So you know me, I'm rolling it around, looking at the bottom and looking at how thick the ceramic is and how it's made and how it's put together. And I said, Rory, come take a look at this. You tell me what you see different between this one and the one at Wilcon, for all that money. And she said, I don't see any difference. I says that if we're buying as many as 9 of these things, what we save will buy us a Toyota. The savings. So we decided that was going to be our toilets. And she says, well, how about those damn sinks? I says, well, I have not got the money in my Social Security to buy sinks at that rate. So she says, well, what can you get? I said, I don't know, but I'll be working on it. So I'm over at Sky King one day buying grinding blades at 22 pesos a piece for my 4-inch grinder. And as I'm walking out, I look over at the housewares, and I see all this shiny stainless stuff down there. I said, let's take a look and see what they got. So we went down and we found stainless pots with lids. I says, 1,100 pesos, that's like $10, $11. I don't know where it went. And I said, those burners we're putting in our countertop, they need a surround. Why don't we just buy these? We'll set the burners in them. We'll buy another one for the gas valves because the burners have 3 valves each. And when we're not using them, we'll use the lids to cover them over so the sink's clean and stuff won't get under it, you know. And we looked at it, and I says, that's a good price. She says, I says, Phil, I think it is. She says, that's thicker than we have at home. I says, it says stainless steel. I don't know what kind of stainless it is, but we're not putting acid in it. All we're doing is putting air in it. We can't hardly hurt it. And so we got a shopping cart. And then we got a second shopping cart. And we bought, well, I don't know, 40 pieces of this stuff. And I says, hey, look at these walks. That's a big walk. She says, yeah, they're in centimeters. That's almost a meter. I says, yeah, I know it is. I says, but it's 9 inches deep. And that's the critical number, 9 inches deep. She says, well, why? I said, kitchen sink, laundry sink. And I felt the gauge on it. It was about 1/16 of an inch thick or more. I says, they've spun this out of a sheet of plate. Doesn't have to have stamping dies. You're buying the material here. It didn't take anything at all to make it, other than a very high-skilled guy. And so we bought 3 for that kitchen, two 32-inch ones, and for the rinse sink, we got a smaller one. It was like 20 or 21 inches. And those go on these kitchen counters. So this dirty kitchen will have the same set of stainless walks, and it have 2 sets of them, so there'll be 6 dishwashing sinks in this, 3 on each side. And then the 3 in the main kitchen, which is 20-some feet away. So anyway, 3.5-inch hole saw with carbide on it to cut for the drain. And we had to buy the faucet anyway. So if you spread that hole saw out amongst... oh, another thing. What makes it almost no problem with the price of the hole saw, even though it's a $40 part. You're going to use it so many times. We had to have... we wanted to have... what do they call those sinks that sit on top of the counter? Vessel sinks. I says, we do have all these 9 bathrooms to put sinks in. I said, would you mind a stainless sink in your bathroom? I said, I can probably get it powder coated or something, but I don't think it'd be durable enough. But do you mind stainless? And she says, no, the faucets are all stainless. I said, yeah, everything's milled stainless. She says, well, let's just have a stainless sink. So we rolled the shopping cart back, and we threw another 9 of those walks in there, 18-inch ones, about 6 inches deep. And that's going to be our vanity sinks all through the house. Oh, this was going to be a short video. But nobody watches them anyway. But I know if I keep them down to 12 minutes, people do watch them. But anyway, it's too late now. Anyway, that's a preview of the coming attractions on the Dirty Kitchen. And why are we doing what we're doing? And what we came to look at was rebar. Oh, it's already long. Let's look at one more thing. Doesn't make any difference. Just for my own benefit now. Okay, we're looking at a notched board. This board will be sitting on edge, and these notches would be up. And we just come in and drop the rebars into the notches of the boards. But see, it's landing flat on the floor like this. You can do that, but you have to have it up to put the tie wires. So we just stand this on this bottom edge with the notches up, put all the rebars in into the notches. That spaces them. And we line them up off the end of the thing with the measuring to the board. And then we have rebars going the other way, and we throw them on top of these rebars, and we have another notched board with the same or different spacings, or combinations of spacings if they're closer together at the edges. And that's how we space our rebar. And we can get in there and tie it at will. We get 6, 7 guys tying. She tied the entire rebar for the main floor of the house in 2 days. That's cut and tie. And we didn't have to worry about it wandering off because it was in a big mound stacked up sheet after sheet. And we put the one we were going to pour last on the bottom and then just kept adding. So when she was done at the about an hour to go on the second day, the top one was sitting on top, was the first one we were going to stand up and pour. So that was her first part of actual construction. Okay, that's the end of this one. Just praise the Lord and hope I can turn this camera off.